Aloha, Nina here with what could be my final video about Disneyland. I thought I would just do a quick overview of the Disneyland process or, our trip in general, because I think most of the people that I send to Disneyland are people who have done Disney World before and they want to go to Disneyland. And so this will kind of help show you the difference between the two a little bit. I also, of course, book Disneyland a lot for people in the California area of the States. So, but a lot of times those people drive in, so the whole flying thing isn't always a concern. But anyway, so we flew in. We flew into LAX. You can also fly into SNA. The price difference between the two is something to look at. SNA is closer, but LAX was cheaper for us, and with 4 plane tickets, that was the winner. Both of which you can get shuttle or Disneyland Resort Express bus service. Either way, you do have to pay to get your family from the airport to Disneyland. It is not like Disney World where the Magical Express is free, and so yeah, it is something extra, something additional to your package. I have done several different ways. I've done it where I went with a company called Super Shuttle and I had it prearranged. I've done it before where I just show up and grab a Super Shuttle. I've done it where I prepaid and prearranged for the Disney Resort Express. It just kind of depends on a lot of factors. It is something we can add to your package. It's also something you can do on your own. So for us, we flew into LAX and I didn't do Super Shuttle or the Disneyland Express Resort. We kind of just grabbed something that we saw. We had a really long flight, really long flight, and we just needed to get to our resort and be done with the traveling part. So we ended up catching some random van that said Disneyland on it. I don't necessarily advise this for you guys, but I am a travel agent. This is what I do. And anyway, this guy took us to our resort, and because no one else recognized his van, he only took us to our resort, which is phenomenal because we didn't have to go pick up like 20 other people and drop off 20 other people at 20 different resorts. It was just us. In the end, though, it was rather costly. It was $90 to take us from LAX to the Grand Californian, and I did tip $10, so the whole situation was $100. And this is useful for you to know because you need a budget. Yeah. So anyway, we got to the Grand Californian, which was fabulous. We had a 3-day hopper. So on travel day, we literally just traveled. I met one of you while I was there, a fellow client and a friend, who I finally met her in person with her family, and she brought us pizza and we ate and we chatted, and yeah, then we went to bed and got ready for our next day, which was our first full park day, for which me and my daughter anyway, used the early morning times every single day of our trip. That was huge. We ran around and did the few rides that were open. Not all the rides are open for early magic hours. So we benefited by doing the rides that were open, so we didn't have to necessarily do those rides later on in the day. So several times me and my daughter went off, we did our thing, we met up with the boys later, and it ended up working out. Now this brings me to something that kind of shocked me. I was not prepared for my son, who's 5, to be as interested in Disneyland as he was. In fact, I want to say that Disneyland is our favorite, our family favorite, not just my personal. He had so much fun. He went on so many rides. He totally blossomed this trip. And I don't even know. I'm almost worried that when we go to Disney World in December, he's going to be all like poopy pants again and not want to ride anything. But Disneyland was amazing. He was running around, having fun. He was asking us to go on more rides. He was literally dragging our arm to take us to different rides, which never happens. This is not his personality whatsoever. So for this to happen, it was just amazing. So everything from Cars Land, and who knows, maybe this is all to blame on Cars Land. Cars Land was right up his alley. He loves the Cars movies. I mean, who doesn't? And he immediately saw, the rides that were happening in Cars Land. Again, you need to join my Facebook group, because I did a Facebook Live of Cars Land where you could see all the cute rides and just the cuteness in general of Cars Land and how it's decorated. Awesome decoration. It's like you're in the movie. But anyway, he was in Cars Land and he's like, I want to do this and I want to do this and I want to do this. And sure enough, he's riding all these rides. He's having a blast. And when we were done with Cars Land, we thought we would check out the It's a Bug's Life Land. And again, it was the same thing. It's this hidden area that a lot of people who are coaster people skip, and they don't realize it's there. And there were a bunch of like kiddie, like almost like fair rides, but they're not. I mean, they're obviously Disney rides and they're very well done with cute characters, but there's those simple kind of fair-like rides. And he did them and he loved them. And one was this ladybug ride. They did it like 5 times in a row. It was kind of like a spinny but movie, not spinny like teacups, but close. And he loved it. And then we went on this ride with the giant caterpillar who eats things, in It's a Bug's Life. And we did that ride several times. It was just a simple, slow-moving ride, but it was something that my son asked to do, wanted to do, got interested in doing, which is often hard at Disney World. Up until this point, he's never really said, I want to go on this ride, let's go on this ride. So for him to do that at Disneyland was rather mind-blowing and very exciting for us. So, a lot of people ask me, well, my kids are too young for Disneyland. I really don't think they are. I was shocked with how much what they have there. And me growing up there, I didn't necessarily do all the kiddie rides, although I've been there and I knew about them. To actually see my own kid, who is kind of afraid of everything, doing all that stuff was great. So we had 3 full park days where we did have hoppers. We did tend to start the day in one park and finish up in another park, or times when we did the early magic morning hours for the one park and then went over to the other park when that park opened, and then we switched depending on, which park had a nighttime experience we hadn't seen yet, and vice versa. But we did both parks pretty thoroughly in those 3 days. Again, I wish I would have had a 4th day hopper. Once I realized how much fun my 5-year-old was having, I of course wanted to stay longer and do a few more of those things. But, we did the Frozen musical, The Show, and it was amazing. For years they had an Aladdin show, which was also amazing. But the Frozen show, the parts of the show, the technical stuff behind the show, I should say, the stage stuff behind the show, to me was amazing. I've been in theater most of my life, so for me, I'm always interested in those kind of things, the performers and the characters and the costumes and the stage equipment and all that kind of stuff. I mean, it was just a phenomenal show. It is a long show and you do have to wait in the line for it, but it was worth the time. It was worth doing, and I would do it again. Another thing at Disney California Adventures a lot of people kind of pass over is there's a little animation area that you can go to. I think it's like on Hollywood Boulevard or along those lines, kind of street similar to where Hollywood Studios, Hollywood Boulevard thing. Anyway, there's this little area where you walk in and there's this little room where you can learn how to draw a Disney animated character from an animator. And I have done this several times, but this was a first for my family. So you walk in and, there's paper there with a board and a pencil. And at the very front of the room, there's an animator talking with a projector. She literally takes you through step by step of drawing each character. And I forget who we drew. We either drew Pluto or Goofy. I can't remember. I have drawn Mickey before. I've drawn Steamboat Willie. I've done Jack Skellington. I've done Minnie Mouse. I've done several characters. But this is something people often skip and they don't realize is there. Or when you talk to someone about their vacation, these are things they don't always mention, but they're there and they're amazing. So again, 3 full days, hoppers in the park. The other table service restaurant we ate at was the Carnation Cafe, which always hits home for me because I've eaten there several times and it was one of the first restaurants I ever had a Mickey pancake at, and so I wanted to do that experience again. So Carnation Cafe was a great meal. Blue Bayou is also a great meal. The Carthay Circle is an awesome meal, but expensive one. And we had really good luck at all the quick services. I know a lot of people with food allergies are worried about quick services. I did my research ahead of time. All the quick services we went to were fabulous and were easily accommodated us. They were great. We did eat a lot of Mexican quick service, but that's kind of the food we like. I did ship a box from Amazon Prime to our hotel, and that was great too. So not only did I pack my usual food that I have shown in a previous video when we did a cruise, but I also had Amazon Prime ship us a few things that were too heavy that I didn't necessarily want in my suitcase. So that's something that we did that worked out perfectly. So we did Disneyland, and then the next day we ended up at that point doing the Disneyland Resort Express to take us back to LAX. We did not have reservations. We just waited for the bus to show up at our resort. It showed up. We got on the bus. The guy asked us to pay, and then we paid. It was cheaper than $100, but apparently it's more expensive to go from the airport to the hotel, and then it's cheaper on your way back, hoping that I guess you use the round trip service. So again, this is something we can add to your package. We can do prepay character meals to your package. We can, do all sorts of crazy things. But those are a few of the differences between Walt Disney World and Disneyland, especially the rides are different. There's different types of rides. Like there's no Cars Land at Disney World. There's no Bugs Life at Disney World. And there's no meal plan at Disneyland, and there's a meal plan at Disney World. Disneyland's very much kind of eat as you go, but you can prepay for those character meals, so you don't have to worry about paying at the kiosk, which is actually very beneficial because I was too busy putting on my lipstick and trying to look pretty for Ariel versus getting out my credit card and paying for my eats. So, because everyone pays the same amount, whatever you order, it's the same price. It's a set price. All the character meals are a set price. There is no order. There is no, I'm going to do it cheaper or whatever. It's a set price. So in the end, Disneyland, loved it. We had a Dole Whip. We had Mickey pretzels. We did the Tiki Room. Oh, another big thing is the Indiana Jones ride. They don't have that at Disney World. As far as I know, it's the same track as Dinosaur over at Animal Kingdom. But it's pretty cool because it's Indiana Jones, and I remember being there for like opening day or opening week when it first came out. So to show that to my daughter was pretty cool. So yeah, and then we got to see Pirates before they changed the redhead. So that was great. And yeah, Disneyland. Again, like I've been saying in all these other videos, I think it's something everyone should try. So anyway, if you have any questions about Disneyland, of course, feel free to message me. I am a travel agent. This is what I do. I book trips for Disney and other locations, and all my information is always, down here on the bottom of these videos. So yeah, mahalo for watching. Nina out.